Hey everyone, Hans here. Hope you are doing well. Today gonna make a video with two topics. We'll see how far I get. First one is going to be the anti-hero, something worth bringing up I think, and then maybe something about dreams. It remains to be seen if I'll get to that point, or if I find myself in the mood for it at that time anymore. So, the anti-hero. Why do I want to talk about that? It's because we see them all over movies these days. I was actually watching not necessarily a movie review, but more so a review on big movie companies. Well, big, that is to say, the ones who have the most outreach in the world. Perhaps that's a more accurate term to begin with. So, what we see in movies today, more so than in the past, is the concept of the anti-hero, which in my eyes is basically a villain that does heroic things. And you might then wonder how even. And it's really simple. The hero is someone who sacrifices oneself, or is at least willing to make the sacrifice, puts him or herself in harm's way, although not always necessarily, but is definitely willing to risk it. And the purpose is to stop the forces of evil, which, evil is anti-life, as I describe it. Some of you might be getting used to me, using the term as such. So, the term or evil as it is something then that can also be stopped by what is called the anti-hero. And these are the types. They will take out a villain, if you will, but their motivations are different than the hero. The hero just tries to save what is good. And if we know that evil is anti-life, then we know that good is what is life supporting, if you will, or brings renewal. It's not always about I'll go into that in a second, I think. So, what would that look like? Let's say you have two Clint Eastwood characters. They're practically, or both of them, they're exactly identical, that same stern look, the same cigar that they're chewing on, same revolver on their hip. And they go into a town and they take out a gang. That's what they're there for. The hero version of that character is going to go in there, see the damage, the anti-life that this gang perpetuates. It could be anything. Could be extorting resources out of the population. Could be just outright ending lives before their time is due. All of that. And he says that is unacceptable, the heroic version, puts a stop to it, and then goes on his merry way. Maybe earns a buck in the meantime, right? Brings the thieves in and earns a bounty or whatever it's gonna be. Okay, we understand that then. That is heroic. I think that is a fair thing to say because the entire purpose behind it is to support that which is capital G good. Okay. Then we have the version of that character which is the anti-hero. Looks exactly the same revolver, same cigar, same gang that he is gonna face, but the motivation is gonna be different because this character is there because of the bounty and because because of some inner sick pleasure in ending the lives of the gang. So basically, the hero and the anti-hero will both, put bullets in the entire gang, but the hero is kind of, it's basically indifferent. It's like, you shouldn't have done what you did. Bam, bam, bam. The anti-hero might have just, even if not outwards, on the inside there's like this sick pleasures, like, oh, look at those bodies drop, the power, ooh, that sort of thing. And then gets a bounty on top of it too, and perhaps some fame, right? Or infamy. Don't think for anti-heroes it matters that much, which is to say, you see the difference then, the difference in motivation. And in, I don't really want to name it, like the most well-known movie company in the world, let's just go with that. They actually have made a trend since 2010, predominantly, then it took really off, is that they have basically, they try to portray villains as if they are someone that you should feel sorry for, or someone that is, yeah, like the villain is the hero somehow, which is nonsense. Which is actually a clear trick. Well, it says a lot about those writers who write those scripts, and if you could call it, develop those characters. And how you can tell is because of their motivations again. It's saw a movie review not too long ago. Never watched the movie in and of itself, never going to if I can help it. And it's about this character that is envious. Like she wants to be uh, seen as a superhero, and therefore she's gonna pursue that. So it's not about helping people, it's not about doing justice. No, it's about wanting to don a spandex and be applauded for it. That's a villain's thing. Yeah, that's how a villain is encouraged, and not even particularly in-depth villain at all. A very basic creature, essentially. And I just wanted to present that to people. You know, if you realize that you're presented anti-heroes and you then can describe anti-heroes as villains posing as heroes, it might actually save you in life too. Now, not only will you then notice that your entertainment is absolutely poisoned these days, uh, to basically weaken oneself and weaken the youth's perception of who is good and who is evil, which makes it a lot more easier to be preyed upon by evil people, obviously. Um, but yeah, also in life itself, it's not only entertainment, in life itself, you'll have an easier time to understand that whenever some big guy or big girl, whatever it's gonna be, is presented on the screen for you to applaud, that you might actually think twice and say, okay, hero or anti-hero? Or maybe neither, maybe just a guy that happens to have done something, and it might have been by accident or whatever. It's like the indifferent, the morally indifferent individual that saves a cat out of a tree because, like, somehow, one of his possessions got in that tree, and the cat was holding onto it when he took it out. And then, like, people run to him, oh, thank you for saving the cat. Well, he just wanted to get his own stuff, or something like that. Silly example, I know. I'm good at those. But I think it makes sense. I think that it's comprehensive enough. Um, yeah, and that's really all I had to say on anti-heroes and how they are the counterpart of heroes. The anti-hero is basically the villain pretending to be a hero. Uh, Second, oh wait, there was something in the meanwhile that I wanted to get into. Oh yeah, as far as protecting life, you know, being life supportive, if you will. If you want to do right by others, that is more than just the enslavement to life. What is the enslavement to life, you might ask? Imagine someone who has been in a coma for the last 40 years or something crazy like that, and this person's body is absolutely deteriorated. It's gonna be decades before that bone structure can handle weight again, the muscles function again, uh, before that individual has caught up with the by that time modern trends or current waves of society and all of that. You could say, I know, maybe the individual in and of him or herself at that point is already 90 years old. And you do then wonder at some point, when has it been enough? Right? I'm not making any political statements with this. What I'm trying to present to people with this is, are you now not just a slave to life? Like, at which point then do you let life go so the person is out of his or her suffering? Or, prevent a lot of suffering that definitely is about to come. Imagine it. Imagine yourself in that position. You wake up, all of a sudden your body is just absolutely malfunctioning. Like you're strapped to 50 tubes to stay alive, to be kept alive. And you're going through this arduous task of getting yourself built up again, which in of itself is a good thing. But then at a time in your life where it's, where you're gonna fade out or where you're really not gonna be wholly yourself again, and then yet at the same time have to face that who knows how many people you've known have perished, if there is perhaps any of your old friends left, and all of that stuff. At which point do you then say, save this spirit the trouble, let the spirit go to the afterlife, maybe come back in a new life. Okay, I understand that is more or less my way of thinking about it. I let everyone to decide his or her own way on it. But there is merit in thinking about it, at the very least. I think that's fair. So, being good is more than just keeping that person alive. At some point, good sort of turns not into evil, but it turns dysfunctional. And by extent of that, what I'm trying to say is that good is also making space for renewal. One life ends and something grows from that one's death. There's actually a song, a Norwegian song, and the lyrics sort of goes like life from a death, death from a life. It's by Einar Selvik, and it's like one of his projects, not worth Runa though, for those who know him. Another project with another few musicians. Anyways, but that's it. The cyclical nature, or the cyclical nature of nature, if you will. Life from a death, death from a life, and so forth and so on, endlessly. And I think it's a good thing to keep space for that, rather than the horror we see today with all of this concrete tossed on everything, and everything that looks green needs to be stamped out or blocked out or who knows what. Again, there is a bit of philosophy required for that one as well. Can't take that at face value, but you see the point I'm trying to make? That there is a bit of there is an aspect to being good that also allows for renewal, and let's just keep it there for now. I haven't 100% figured it all out for myself yet, clearly, so not my business then, I think, to say anything to anyone else. Perhaps except to the points where I feel comfortable that one can think about it oneself. You don't need me for that, right? Yeah, so I think that kind of covers the hero, anti-hero, evil, and good. And oh yeah, as far as the term supporting life, well, there you have it then. Supporting life is also allowing for new life to flourish and letting things die when their time is right. That's nature for you. No man decided that. And, well, it's just how it is, and it's fine. It probably has its reasons. Can you imagine if nobody or nothing ever died? Could be potentially horrendous, actually. Just these billion-year-old people in decrepit bodies. Ugh. Big yikes. Alright, so I'm gonna leave it with that image. And I'm gonna go to the dreams and the wishes that people like to make. So the reason why I want to bring that up, it's just I figured it was nice to ponder a bit about it. Maybe I should specifically say wishes though, after all, not necessarily dreams. It's interlinked, but I've had it said once that when you make a wish, you're certain to never have it happen. For the simple reason that you then expect the world to deliver it to you for nothing. And that's just not how existence works. If you want something, you have to do something for it back. You're not always gonna get it the way you want either, whether that's for the better or the worse, you know? And sometimes you work towards something and you're not getting it, but you might have gotten something else. The thing with that statement is that I cannot disagree with it, because there is merit to it, but I will also argue is that if you want a wish to come true, you actually have to bring it into reality, and making that incantation, if you will, actually does help, if you ask me. However, if you make uh, if you make a wish, you verbally speak out that wish. There's two ways how you can handle why you would do that. You have the external um, wishing for donuts to fall from the sky, for example, and then you just externally await that some force is gonna make it happen. A genie, your favorite religious deity, or your sole religious deity perhaps, whoever you pray to, and all of that sort of stuff. Gonna wait for the external power to make it happen. I always figure that's quite rude, isn't it? Like demanding from an external figure to handle it for you. Like why would they owe you that? Think they don't have anything better to do themselves. I mean, seriously. Even the most almighty being, like if that sort of being even existed, even if that could be a reality, it might just like you might be wishing for a donut, and then like just to mess with you, you'd have like stone donuts like dropping all around you, and now you have to dodge them, or what have you. Yeah, I know these silly examples of mine, but nonetheless, there is then also the internal expectation. So you make a wish, but it's to amp up your psyche. You amp yourself up, you kickstart your soul, if you will, or kickstart your body into moving and getting things done. It's like, oh, I really wish that I had a donut in my hand right now. And while you're saying that, you already are moving yourself towards the bakery, or you're moving towards your own kitchen just to make that happen. And then you make your own dream come true. That's how it works. It's also why they say that the gods protect those who protect themselves. It's exactly the same thing. How many people fall down? Like the anti-whites were destroying statues and who knows what not too long ago. I think most people will still remember that. At least I hope they do. I think all of you who listen to me definitely do. And you actually had these individuals who would fall on their knees and pray to their god that these Cretans will be kept from this cultural heritage, this history. And of course, what happens? More statues are toppled and nothing comes of it. It sort of just stops by itself once these anti-whites lose interest or aren't paid anymore, whatever the hell it's gonna be, right? Or enough of them by accident get those statues on their heads. That has actually happened here and there. Yeah. So then you have those who wish the same thing, that they kept that these anti-whites keep their hands off these statues. But what then do these people do? They actually go and they form walls around these statues. You don't see that in the news, but that did happen as well. There's plenty of statues that are still standing where people actually came out of their houses and they formed quite a mob themselves, even if still outnumbered. I mean, anti-whites are cowards by nature. There's no heroes among them. They're neurotic scum. Think those are gonna risk their necks to take out a statue? Hell no. So what it then took was bravery, and people who understood that if you want to keep something, you have to go there and keep it. Hold on to it, if you will. Don't let anyone run off with it. But again, that came from the wish to protect their own. You're starting to see then how wishes can be made into, wishes can be uttered in from two different perspectives. At least those two. I think that is a dichotomy that's a real dichotomy. You either undertake an action or you don't. I'm not really sure if there is anything in the middle or outside of that spectrum. Yeah, it's something I also just wanted to toss in there. I think that even in the sphere of people who follow their own heritage above all else, follow their own heroes, their own gods, their people's gods basically, and all of that. I even see it there. Oh, Thor, please, gives me one more meat horn or something. It's just, wow, dude. Like, I'm surprised the hammer didn't come flying through the window to smack you in the back of the head. Okay, I'm being a bit silly, but nonetheless, like, that is ridiculous. Or praying to Odin every Sunday and all of that stuff, or you need to walk around a certain stone 20 times while you're hopscotching and you have a chicken in one hand and your sacrificial goat is resting on your shoulders and all of that weird stuff. It's just, ugh. No, that's really not how it works. It's just like you're just basically exerting the spirit of another religion with the topping of your own ancestors to make it more flavorable to you. That's not what it is. It's not how it works. Not only do you make yourself look ridiculous, you make other people who actually know what they're doing also look ridiculous. Guess I'll politely ask for those to stop doing that. But yeah, for foolishness there is yet to be found a cure, I think. That is to say. It depends. Some fools learn. Others are just gonna keep doing their thing. And I guess there are those who are just doing all of that nonsense because it keeps people nice and nicely controlled. These goodies and these other kinds of priests just love nothing more than having these people who are just lost to walk towards them and ask for leadership. Yeah. That's why I bring it up. It's like, maybe by some coincidence some people who would fall for that, and I'm not saying that to point fingers, I'm saying that you need to be careful. And Hey, by maybe hearing this, you might figure, actually, yeah, that was kind of a silly idea of mine, or I actually was still practicing some other fave I was supposed to follow with a new topping and might actually think on things a bit deeper. But then, now you've heard this and you might reconsider. Reconsider your methods, reconsider your own line of thinking perhaps, and see if you can't improve there, which is your choice. And of course, it's up to you to decide what you call an improvement and what not. It's not up to me and not up to anyone else. Like I said, internal. All happens on the inside here for yourself. Oh, and maybe at some point, I'm actually questioning something. So if anyone would like to comment on this, that would be appreciated. I'm thinking about making another video, kinda have already, but maybe not in so much detail, about individualism and collectivism. Because in the old philosophers, they really stamp down hard on individualism, and while I actually find myself agreeing with them, I also understand that individualism is quite a poison, or can be quite a poison. As same as that collectivism can be quite a poison, but it also has a lot of good sides with it. So I want to make a video about that, but because I want to see how many people are interested for it, because I'm really gonna have to break my brain over that one. I think might actually have to do a few parts on that, but I want to see if people find it interesting. If not, I'm just gonna keep doing whatever I feel like, I guess. And yeah, I think that's all I had to say for now. I'm gonna enjoy Easter, or like the last days, before we sway our way right into spring itself. So beautiful outside. Bit of green, not sure if you can tell in the back behind me. Sun is shining, flowers are all over the place. It's wonderful. I'm gonna enjoy that a bit. You will have a good one, and bye bye.